It was a sunny day on the island of Sodor, and all the engines were working hard. Gordon was feeling very excited. Morning, Thomas. I look my best, and you know why? Why? Because a Duke and Duchess are visiting, the Fat Controller will be choosing me as their special engine. Pah! Puffed Thomas. After Gordon had been washed and polished, he rushed away to meet the visitors. But a signal diverted Gordon into a siding. He was very upset. "I'm going to be late," he muttered. A huge engine rocketed by. Steaming pistons. Who's that? Gordon soon found out. When he arrived at the shed, the huge engine was humming quietly. Who are you? This is Spencer. He's the fastest engine in the world. Huh. But secretly, Gordon was impressed. I'm the Duke and Duchess's private engine. I take them everywhere. Quiet. There will be a party for our guests at Marron Station. That's far away over Gordon's Hill. You'll need to take on plenty of water, muttered Gordon. I have plenty of water, wheezed Spencer. And he raced away. I was only trying to be useful, grunted Gordon. Spencer showed the Duke and Duchess many beautiful places. But he never stopped once to take on more water. Gordon and Thomas were collecting passengers when Spencer raced through on his way to the party. Don't forget the water. Who cares? He'll be in trouble soon, sighed Thomas. And Spencer was. He ran out of water on Gordon's Hill. Why didn't I listen? Sighed Spencer. The Fat Controller soon heard the news. I'll send Gordon. You need to rescue Spencer. He's stuck on the hill. Hurry, Gordon, said his driver. Gordon was looking forward to seeing Spencer. Run out of water? He teased. Yes, snapped Spencer. I must have a leaky tank. Perhaps, smiled Gordon. But we'd better hurry. Everyone is waiting. Gordon switched to Spencer's line and was coupled up. Then they set off. See, said Gordon, we're right on time. Spencer was embarrassed. What do you think of Spencer now? Whispered Thomas. Too much puff and not enough steam. Well done, said the Fat Controller. You're the fastest engine on Sodor. I know that, muttered Gordon.
Thomas, the cheeky, fussy little tank engine, and his pals from Shining Time Station could be rolling down the track at your house now. From the island of Sodor, there's feisty young Mavis, classy Daisy, and mischievous Bill and Ben. Better watch out for those two.
Now Ertl makes a Thomas the Tank engine carrying case, where you can keep 10 of Thomas's sturdy die-cast metal friends neat and comfy. Shining Time Station's Thomas the Tank engine. From Ertl.
Every day, the Fat Controller came to the station to catch his train. "Hello," he always said to Thomas. "Remember, don't be impatient, Thomas. You can never be as strong and fast as Gordon, but you can be a really useful engine. Don't let the silly trucks tease you." There were lots of trucks, and Thomas worked very hard pushing and pulling them into place. There was also a small coach and two strange things his driver called cranes. "That's the breakdown train," he told Thomas. "The cranes are for lifting heavy things like engines and coaches and trucks." One day, Thomas was in the yard. Suddenly, he heard an engine whistling. "Help! Help!" A goods train came rushing through much too fast. The engine was James, and he was frightened. His brake blocks were on fire. "They're pushing me, they're pushing me," he panted. On, laughed the trucks. Still whistling, "Help! Help!" Poor James disappeared. "I'd like to teach those trucks a lesson," said Thomas the Tank Engine. Soon came the alarm. "James is off the line! The breakdown train! Quickly!" Thomas was coupled on, and off they went. Thomas worked his hardest. "Hurry, hurry, hurry," he puffed. He wasn't pretending to be like Gordon. He really meant it. "Bother those trucks and their tricks. I hope poor James isn't hurt." James's driver and fireman were feeling him all over to see if he was hurt. "Never mind, James," they said. "It wasn't your fault. It was those wooden brakes they gave you. We always said they were no good." Thomas pushed the breakdown train alongside. Then he pulled the unhurt trucks out of the way. "Oh dear, they groaned. "Serves you right," puffed Thomas. He was hard at work, puffing backwards and forwards all afternoon. "This'll teach you a lesson," he told the trucks. And they answered, "Yes, it will, yes, it will." They left the broken trucks, then with two cranes they put James back on the rails. He tried to move, but he couldn't, so Thomas helped him back to the shed. The Fat Controller was waiting anxiously for them. "Well, Thomas," he said, "I've heard all about it, and I'm very pleased with you. You're a really useful engine. James shall have some proper brakes and a new coat of paint, and you shall have a branch line all to yourself." "Oh, thank you, sir," said Thomas. Now Thomas is as happy as can be. He has a branch line and two coaches called Annie and Clarabelle. He puffs proudly backwards and forwards with them all day. He is never lonely. Edward and Henry stop quite often and tell him the news. Gordon is always in a hurry, but never forgets to say poop poop, and Thomas always whistles peep peep in return.
by Fat Controller. Early one morning, Percy arrived at Knapford Station with the mail train and noticed a very unusual group of passengers outside the Fat Controller's office.
Oh, bother that telephone. Excuse me.
The Fat Controller won't still be here, will he?
No, he won't be here. I'll find out when he's going.
Well, the sooner he's gone, the better, so we can get started.
As soon as Percy saw Thomas, he told him what he had heard.
That's what they said, Thomas. The sooner he's gone, the better. The Fat Controller won't be here. He must be leaving the island of Sodor.
But where is he going? And who will manage the railway if he's gone?
By that evening, all the engines were talking about it.
Well, I, for one, will miss him when he goes.
So will I. Even though he does get very cross sometimes.
Especially with Thomas.
Not just with me.
He usually has a good reason to get cross. One way or another, we're always causing confusion and delay.
Oh, maybe that's why he's leaving. Because of us.
But we can't just let him leave. We have to convince him to stay.
Yes. Good idea.
So the next morning, the engines set out, determined to make the Fat Controller want to stay.
Good morning, sir. I've delivered all the mail extra early today.
Oh, well done, Percy. Gordon? Oh, it's rather early for the express. Your passengers haven't even begun to arrive. James? Thomas? What's going on? Is my watch wrong? Or is there some confusion with the timetable?
Oh, no, sir.
No, there's no confusion, sir.
And there won't be any delays either.
Oh, I see. Well, you'll all have to wait a while for your passengers.
That's all right.
We don't mind waiting, sir.
We're just doing our best to make this a very, very good railway.
Right, I'd better double-check the schedule.
All day long, the engines worked hard to keep everything running smoothly.
Diesel? Why don't you be more careful? You're nearly... sorry, Emily. Sorry, sir. I'm trying very hard not to be confusing or delayed.
Do you know what's going on today, Henry? All the engines are behaving in a most peculiar fashion.
They're just showing you how happy they are that you're running the railway, sir.
Oh, well, I'm happy too, Henry. I do love this railway.
That's what he said. He said he was happy and he loves this railway.
So, he's not leaving after all?
I don't suppose he would be, Percy. Not if he's happy.
It must have all been an honest misunderstanding. You probably misheard what those people were saying.
Percy hoped Thomas was right, but he wasn't really sure what to think as he set out that night to take the mail train. The next morning, he arrived at Knapford Station and saw something very surprising indeed.
We'll come back for another lot in a minute. We have to clear everything.
Percy raced back to Tidmouth's sheds to tell the others.
He is leaving! I saw them! They're taking all his things away!
Saw who, Percy? Slow down.
The Fat Controller is leaving. He may not want to, but those men were taking all his things out of his office. Even the telephone.
The telephone?
He loves that telephone.
Oh, so they really are throwing him out.
We'll have a new controller, I suppose.
No, we won't. We won't let them send the Fat Controller away. We'll go on strike until they agree to let him stay on the island.
On strike? You mean we won't do any work or pull any trains?
That's right. We'll cause confusion and delay.
Good idea, Thomas!
Where are all my engines? The passengers are getting cross and saying what a bad railway this is. Oh, there's trouble in the shed, sir. The engines are refusing to come out.
Sodor needs the Fat Controller.
No, no, he can't go! No, no, he can't go! The Fat Controller is our friend! No, no, he can't go! No, no, he can't go!
There he is!
What is going on? Quiet! Be quiet, all of you! Now, could someone please explain the meaning of this outrage?
This strike was my idea, sir.
Without you, the railway just wouldn't be the same.
But...
We don't want you to leave Sodor, sir.
But I'm not leaving Sodor. I'm not going anywhere.
But Percy saw the men clearing your office.
They were taking everything away.
Even your telephone.
That's because my office is being redecorated.
Redecorated?
That's right. I'll have to work in a temporary office until they finish repainting and decorating.
Redecorating?
So that's what's going on.
Sorry, but I thought...
Oh, I know what you thought, Percy, but you got it all wrong. Now, if you wouldn't mind, we still have a railway to run.
Yes, sir! I'm on my way! Sorry, folks. This one's full.
There was still a lot of confusion and delay after the morning's disruption. But the engines all tried to be really useful and get the railway back on schedule again. While the men worked to redecorate his office, the Fat Controller worked in his temporary office.
Oh, bother that telephone.
In a shed.
Oh. Hello? What? How could that happen? That sounds like a lot of confusion and delay.
It's like he never left.
Fearless Freddy. Today, an old friend was coming back to the narrow gauge railway. His name was Fearless Freddy. Everyone had heard tales of Freddy. He was fast, fun, and fearless. Thomas pushed Fearless Freddy into the transfer yards. "Hello, Freddy," whistled Sir Handel. "I haven't seen you for years." "Fearless Freddy is back," puffed Freddy. "I didn't know you two were friends," chuffed Thomas. "Oh, yes," puffed Sir Handel. "Freddy was the fastest engine in the hills." Suddenly, Rheneas and Skarloey raced into the yard.
I'm the winner,
Peeped Skarloey.
No, I am, wheezed Rheneas.
Who are you? Chuffed Freddy.
We're the fastest engines in the hills.
I'll show you who's fastest, tooted Freddy. I'll race you down the mountain. Rheneas and Skarloey liked to race. They steamed off excitedly. Freddy was determined to win. Freddy huffed and puffed up the mountain.
Flatten my funnel, he wished. I used to be able to chuff up here in no time.
Rheneas and Skarloey were waiting to start the race.
If I get to the bottom without you bumping my buffers, I've won,
wished Freddy.
All right, fearless Freddy,
tooted Rheneas.
Ready? Steady? Go!
Freddy raced along. Rheneas and Skarloey tried to catch up with him. But Freddy was racing very fast until he began to run out of puff.
Oh no! Those young engines will bump my buffers,
he chuffed sadly. Suddenly, he remembered an old track.
The old rocky way, he wished. No one will remember that now.
Rheneas and Skarloey didn't see Freddy go a different way.
This way's much quicker,
puffed Freddy.
I'll be at the bottom in no time.
Freddy rejoined the main track. Soon, Freddy was at the bottom of the hill.
I did it,
puffed Freddy.
Those young engines couldn't catch me.
You're so fast, wished Rheneas. Race you again, chuffed Skarloey. Please?
Of course, tooted Freddy. Fearless Freddy never says no to a race.
In no time, the little engines were ready to race again.
We'll race you down the other side this time, puffed Rheneas.
The other side of the mountain is very steep, wished Freddy.
You're not scared, are you? Peeped Skarloey.
Of course not. I'm Fearless Freddy, chuffed Freddy. Off we go!
Freddy raced ahead of the other engines. Soon he began to run out of puff again. But Freddy didn't want to lose. Then, Freddy remembered another old track.
The craggy track,
puffed Freddy.
I know this railway like the back of my buffers.
And soon he arrived at the bottom, safe and sound. But Rheneas and Skarloey weren't safe and sound at all. The track was very steep. Rheneas and Skarloey were determined to bump Freddy's buffers, so they were racing very fast.
Faster, wished Skarloey.
Then there was trouble. Rheneas raced right off the track.
Oh no! Cried Skarloey.
Freddy was waiting at the bottom of the mountain. He was very pleased with himself. Suddenly, Skarloey raced in.
Rheneas has come off the track, Skarloey cried. And I don't know where he is. We were trying to catch you, Fearless Freddy, but you were too fast.
Sir Handel arrived with the narrow-gauge controller. He had heard what had happened to Rheneas.
It's all my fault, sir, chuffed Freddy sadly. I used old tracks.
You tricked us, tooted Skarloey. And now Rheneas is lost and in trouble.
No, he isn't, whistled Freddy loudly. I can find him. I know all the old tracks. Please, sir, follow me.
Freddy led the rescue party along another forgotten track. the track wound down to the valley. And there was Rheneas.
I'm so happy you found me, Peep Rheneas.
So am I, Chuff Freddy. In no time at all, Rheneas was back on the track. And all the engines chuffed back to the transfer yards. I'm sorry I tricked you, Puff Freddy. You're much faster engines than me.
But you know all the old tracks, Peep Rheneas. Please tell us about them.
So, Freddy began to tell the young engines tales from the old tracks. Everyone was happy Fearless Freddy was back.
Duck, the Great Western engine, puffed sadly to Edward's station. "It's not fair," he complained. "Diesel has been telling lies about me and made the Fat Controller and all the engines think I'm horrid." Edward smiled. "I know you aren't, and so does the Fat Controller. You wait and see. Why don't you help me with these trucks?" Duck felt happier with Edward and set to work at once. The trucks were silly, heavy and noisy. The two engines had to work hard, pushing and pulling all afternoon. At last they reached the top of the hill. "Goodbye," whistled Duck, and rolled gently over the crossing to the other line. Duck loved coasting down the hill, running easily with the wind whistling past. Suddenly, it was a guard's warning whistle. "Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah," laughed the trucks. "We've broken away, we've broken away. Chase him, bump him, throw him off the rails," they yelled. "Hurry, Duck, hurry," said the driver. They raced through Edward's station, but the trucks were catching up. "As fast as we can, then they'll catch us gradually." The driver was gaining control. "Another clear mile and we'll do it." "Oh, glory, look at that!" James was just pulling out on their line from the station ahead. Any minute there could be a crash. "It's up to you now, Duck," cried the driver. Duck put every ounce of weight and steam against the trucks. "It's too late," Duck groaned and shut his eyes. He veered into a siding where a barber had set up shop. He was shaving a customer. The silly trucks had knocked their guard off his van and left him far behind after he had whistled a warning. But the trucks didn't care. They were feeling very pleased with themselves. "Beg pardon, sir," gasped Duck. "Excuse my intrusion." "No, I won't," said the barber. "You frighten my customers. I'll teach you." And he lathered Duck's face all over. Poor Duck. Thomas was helping to pull the trucks away when the Fat Controller arrived. "I do not like engines popping through my walls," fumed the barber. "I appreciate your feelings," said the Fat Controller, "but you must know that this engine and his crew have prevented a serious accident. It was a very close, shave." "Oh," said the barber. "Oh, excuse me." He filled a basin of water to wash Duck's face. "I'm sorry. I didn't know you were being a brave engine." That's all right, sir. I didn't know that either. You were very brave indeed, said the Fat Controller. I'm proud of you. The Fat Controller watched the rescue operation. Then he had more news for Duck. And when you are properly washed and mended, you are coming home. Home, sir? Do you mean the yard? Of course. But, sir, they don't like me. They like Diesel. Not now. I never believed Diesel, so I sent him packing. The engines are sorry and want you back. A few days later, when he came home, there was a really rousing welcome for Duck the Great Western Engine.
Heave-ho, Thomas. Thomas is a busy and happy engine. As he puffs and huffs across the island, he always toots hello to other engines and to children along the way, even when Thomas is pulling heavy loads. One morning, Thomas puffed into Brendam Docks. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting. You are all here to welcome the new engine. His name is Hank. I've heard he's very special. I've heard he's very strong. Hank puffed into the docks. Hank was very special. He had red wheels and a bright red cowcatcher, and he was very tall. The engines had never seen an engine like Hank before. Hank looks as strong as a giant. I'm sure he isn't stronger than a Sodor engine. Now, Thomas, I have 3 jobs for you. First, you must take new machines from the docks to the factory. Then you are to pick up stone from the quarry and deliver it to the shunting yard. And lastly, you must pick up an old tractor from Farmer McCall's and take it to the repair yard. Yes, sir. And you must take Hank with you. Hank must see the important sights of Sodor. Be back by tea time for Hank's welcome party at Knapford. Thomas buffered up to the machine cars. Hank chuffed alongside. Hello. Howdy, Thomas. Now, you look like one of the finest little engines I've ever seen. Thomas didn't like being called little. I'm a tank engine. Thomas thought Hank was being cheeky. Those freight cars are way too heavy for you. Let me take them for you. Hank meant to be helpful, but it made Thomas cross. No, thank you. I'm strong enough to pull much heavier loads than this. I'd be happy to help. But Thomas was already puffing out of the docks. At the signal, Thomas didn't take the track to the factory. He chuffed straight to the quarry. Thomas pulled ahead. I may not be grand, and I may not be long, but I will show Hank that I'm stronger than strong, he huffed to himself. Thomas and Hank puffed into the quarry. Now I'm going to pick up the stone cars. Hank was surprised. Hold your huffing there, Thomas. Let big old Hank take those cars for you. No, thank you. Tank engines can pull very heavy loads. So Thomas heaved and huffed out of the quarry. Thomas wheezed and wheeshed. Handsome Hank gleamed and glowed by his side. Children waved from bridges. Hello, Thomas! Howdy! Good to see ya! Hey, Thomas, aren't you gonna whistle hello? Thomas hadn't the puff to whistle hello. Hank had plenty of puff. This made Thomas even crosser. Thomas pulled up to the hole. He was nearly out of puff. Hello, Farmer McCall. This is Hank. He's the new engine on Sodor. Howdy, Farmer McCall. That's a mighty fine tractor you have. Say, Thomas, you look all out of puff and pull. I'll take it for you. No, thank you. And the tractor was coupled up to the end of Thomas's freight cars. Thomas huffed and he puffed, and his wheels spun and spun. Come on, Thomas, the train's too heavy for you. Take the pressure off your pistons. Couple me up. But Thomas was determined to pull the train on his own. We must not be late for your party. Wheel turn by wheel turn, Thomas puffed away. Thomas and Hank arrived at Marin Station. Visitors waved at Thomas. Thomas wanted to whistle back, but he hadn't any spare steam. Howdy, everybody. Thomas is a little overloaded right now. I'll whistle for him. Hank had lots of steam, and Hank blew the longest and loudest whistle. Then there was trouble. Thomas had cracked a cylinder. The train was much too heavy. Oh no, now the deliveries won't be made. You won't be back in time for your welcome party. And I'm not a really useful engine, or even a really strong one. Shucks, Thomas, I'm so sorry. That's too bad. I wanted to show you that I wasn't just a fine little steam engine. I wanted to show you that I am really strong. So I didn't want to ask for your help. But I do now. Please, Hank. I'd be happy to help. You give the orders, I'll do the pushing. Hank and Thomas dropped off Farmer McCall's tractor. The workmen were very sorry to see Thomas had broken down. Next, Hank and Thomas chuffed into the shunting yards. The yard manager was waiting. The stone cars were uncoupled. I hope you're back on track really soon, Thomas. Finally, Thomas and Hank delivered the new machines to the factory. Thank you, Thomas. Hank pushed Thomas back to Knapford Station. They arrived just in time for the party. Thank you, Hank. Now all of Sodor knows what a strong engine you are. Hank smiled. And I know something, too. You're the engine everyone cheers for on Sodor. That's something to be proud of. Thomas smiled. Hank was very special. He was a very special new friend.
Sir Topham Hatt's engines love being shiny and clean. It makes them feel cheerful as they puff across the island of Sodor. Percy often has the dirtiest work to do, but he likes to be clean as well as any other engine. Washdowns are important to Percy. But Sir Topham Hatt had bad news. Due to a water shortage, he said, no engine shall have more than one washdown a day. Usefulness before cleanliness, he added, and left. Percy was upset. I get dirty, he complained. I need washdowns. Gordon only does it to feel important. I am important, Gordon sniffed. I'm an express engine. You're a pouty puffer, Percy, teased James. No, I'm not, wheezed Percy, and he chuffed away. Percy was loading freight cars at the docks. He was trying extra hard to stay clean, but the troublesome trucks were being naughty. As Percy pushed them under the coal chute, they sang out. On, they cried. Percy found himself under the chute, and coal dust flew everywhere. Oh no, coughed Percy. I'm filthy. Percy felt awful, but he knew he had to carry on. On the way to Callan Station, the troublesome trucks teased Percy even more. Clickety-clack, don't look back, dirty Percy's on our track. Be quiet, Percy snapped. When Percy arrived at Callan Station, he was very upset. From now on, I am only doing work where I won't get dirty. Harold the helicopter was at Callan Station picking up medical supplies. Hello, Percy, he called. And he took off blowing cinders and ashes everywhere. Not again, cried Percy. I want a washdown. Usefulness before cleanliness, reminded his driver. I want to be useful where I can't get dirty, Percy huffed. There's a load of sugar going to the chocolate factory, his driver said. We could take the sugar cars. Sugar, said Percy. That's nice and clean. Percy was pleased. Percy didn't know that earlier a leaky freight car had spilled oil on the track. When he approached the chocolate factory, his driver applied the brakes. But Percy's wheels just skidded on the oily rails. Oh no, hooted Percy.
Alright, y'all. Today is 10 days for I spoke too soon.
He groaned. I've never been this dirty. He was covered from funnel to firebox in sticky, gooey chocolate. Back at the sheds, everyone thought it was very funny. You look good enough to eat, Thomas hooted. Bonbon Percy, teased James. Chalk ice on wheels, chipped in Henry. Disgraceful, said Gordon pompously. Ahem, said a stern-sounding voice. It was Sir Topham Hatt. You have had a trying day, Percy, he said. Yes, sir, replied Percy from beneath the chocolate. But you've showed us all that usefulness does come before cleanliness. So, he added, you shall have your washdown. Oh, sir, and a new coat of paint. Percy just beamed.
Gordon was feeling really pissed. This was also making James really pissed too. I don't know why, he just is. Why are you complaining all the...
Why are you complaining all the time? Because I'm a big blue engine and I know everything. I shall complain whenever I want. You're just a small red engine with ideas above your station.
I can't see any, said Percy. Where are they?
Any what?
Ideas above the station. The sky's empty.
Like your smoke box, Percy, laughed James. But Gordon was still grumpy. One day I'll show you just what a big engine can really do.
So what can a big engine really do?
Not speak to silly little green engines for a start, replied Gordon. Then he puffed away. Later that day, Sir Topham Hatt came to see him. Gordon, you'll be making one stop today with an empty express to test our new station. You can make up time afterwards. Why can't Henry do it? He likes idling in stations. You will do as you are told. So Gordon did. But he was still unhappy.
Yeah, that's right. I narrate the story. Me. Fuck you, Alec Baldwin. I narrate the story, alright? Piss off. It's time to go to the works, Gordon. Your pipes are clogged. Gee, I wonder why. At last, they finally got to the station. Gordon was impressed, but then... two boring-ass walls with two boring-ass buffers. An important engine like me should have a panoramic view where people can see me and I can see them. Who's the station master of the station? Now, that would be me, Gordon. Stupid. Gordon was happy when it was time to leave. Now you can enjoy a run if your pipes let you. But then Gordon grew more and more fearful. What's happening to me? Let me see. Yeah, well, you gotta go to the works. James was later called in to take Gordon's coaches. Haha, L plus ratio. Here, hold my drink, Gordon. Alright, let's go. When Gordon came back from the works, he was being a little bitch. L plus ratio plus blue tender engines are better. I agree, me too. Except for you two, Edward and Croven. Edward, you're just old, and old people suck. And Croven, I don't even know why you're doing it, Tim and shit, so just piss off. Come on, Gordon, let's go to the grand opening of the station. Alright, I'm going because I'm the most important L plus ratio guy. Dickhead. Yeah, I know, it's not the Great Western Way. Duck, shut the fuck up. But then there was trouble, because of course it is the island, so what would expect. The driver or fireman cannot apply the brakes. And then... oh, phooey. Gordon, I know you want an opinion, but this is not the way to get it. And once I retire, let's just say a new controller will take care of the railway after what just happened. Alright. I'm here to help, sir. Oh my god. Shut up, Doug. Oh my god, this is so hilarious. Oh, no, it's not. Yes, it is. I'm telling everyone. Wait, help me first. No. I know the perfect way to help you. Hey guys, here to help. When Gordon came back to works, he went to the grand opening. Whoa. That's right, Gordon. It only took me to lose my